Guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. So today marks 12 months of me being on Mounjaro, and I just wanted to share about the things that people have been asking me about, side effects and what goes on whilst you're on Mounjaro and how I've dealt with it. So I've been on Mounjaro since July 2024, and it's only been, I started from 2.5 milligrams and then went up to 5 milligrams. So I've only been on 5 milligrams since then. I'm diabetic, so I was put on Mounjaro after I had been on Ozempic for about 18 months and then took a 6 months break and then went on to Mounjaro. So I have not experienced some of the issues that people talk about because my dose has always been 5 milligrams. So I will tell you what I have experienced on 5 milligrams. And also I think this is going to help some of those people who say they want to do microdosing to stay on the same level for a very long time. Yeah, I've seen people talk about that. And also I've had lots of questions anyway by people who want to start Mounjaro. In my previous video, I talked about now it being on the NHS and GPs being able to prescribe for their patients and they can get it on the NHS. So I got lots of questions, people asking me about, what to expect when you're on Mounjaro. So I will also tell you about, the major issues. And I also have a little story to share with you as we go along. So stay tuned. I'll tell you about my hospital visit because of Mounjaro. And yeah, we've had fun. So let me tell you what I have found out. So I talked to my doctor about side effects, like why do people have to experience these side effects? And from as far as I can understand and what she explained to me and what I've also gone down the rabbit hole researching is that that's how it's basically supposed to work. It's supposed to work on your stomach, and so you will get a lot of stomach problems because that's where it's supposed to work. So it's working to change stuff in your stomach, to change your hormones, to change this, to change your receptors, to change how your stomach works, your digestive system, and how also your brain thinks. So you will get effects on your brain and you will get effects in your tummy. So let me talk about that. So whilst you're on Mounjaro, how it works is that it will slow down your digestive system. So you will feel fuller faster and you will not feel hungry for a longer time. It also switches off the food noise. It does a lot of other things, but we're talking about side effects here. So that's where the side effects sort of come from its ability to do that to your digestive system, to slow it down and to cause you not to want to eat and to cause to make sure that the food noise that goes on, the constant thinking about food, the constant worry about what am I going to eat, when am I going to eat, and all that in your brain. So let's talk about those side effects and what I have experienced, and then also my little trip to A&E and I really thought Mounjaro was killing me. So I'll talk about the most common, which are sulfur burps, constipation and bloating, diarrhea, and acid reflux. And then I'll also talk about gastroparesis, which is stomach paralysis, which I thought I had. And, I took a trip down to A&E. So sulfur burps. Sulfur burps are when after you eat, after a while, you start to burp. It's a sulfury, very smelly, sulfur smelling burp that you have. You actually feel like you have acid coming up your food pipe, and it's embarrassing because sometimes it happens and you're in a place where you didn't want to burp, so you burp and then it really stinks. It's really terrible. It really stinks, so it makes your breath smell terrible. Tip: always have a toothbrush and a little bit of toothpaste and or gum, minty gum, something that will mask that. Yeah, it really does stink. So sulfur burps. What to take for sulfur burp? So first few months, my doctor put me on omeprazole and some antacids. So I had Rennies, I had Gaviscon with me all the time, just to make sure if I start feeling like acid is coming up or I burp too much, I will do that. So that also helps with sulfur burps, but those will happen because your stomach is staying in, your food is staying in the stomach much longer, and digestion is going on very, very, very slowly. So you will get food in your stomach for a long time, which is not the norm, right? And that will cause you to burp a lot. I've already just burped, as you noticed. So you're always burping somehow, somewhere. And yeah, it's terrible. It just stinks. It's bad. And it's uncomfortable. What has helped me? So I did take the omeprazole and the antacids, but not always, because I didn't want to, like, medication is just annoying. You don't want to be taking medication upon medication for medication. You know what I mean? So what has helped is that I sometimes have ginger. I chew on small bits and pieces of ginger. So just take a little bit of ginger and I chew. That has helped with also nausea and the feeling that you want to throw up, nausea and vomiting. I think I've thrown up maybe just once on Mounjaro. Like, it started with the nausea and then in the end I just threw up. So do that, and also eat small meals and eat them frequently. Small frequent meals. So if you have like your meal plan for the day, make sure it's broken up into smaller meals throughout the day, because you don't want to wait too long to eat, and you also don't want to eat too much when you actually finally eat, because that will cause a lot of problems with the nausea and the sulfur burps and the acid coming up, because that will stay in your stomach for a very long time. Also, stay away from fatty foods. I'm sure you've been told about this. Stay away from fatty foods, stay away from spicy food, stay away from dairy. I'm lactose intolerant already, so I try to stay away from dairy and sugar. So sugar and fatty foods, I noticed they also trigger diarrhea and sulfur burps. Those things do not go hand in hand with Mounjaro. If you're on Mounjaro, you try to eat sugary foods, fatty foods, you will get sick. So try not to. And when you go to bed, try and make sure that your last meal you eat it. So if you go to bed around, let's say 10 p.m., try to make sure you have at least 2.5 hours before you go to bed to lie down. You could be in bed but sitting up. So try and make sure that you give at least 2.5 to 3 hours after your last meal. So also the other thing is taking lots of water. So make sure you take about 2 liters of water every single day. That's clear water. It doesn't, I'm not counting juices, teas and whatnot. No, clear water, 2 liters a day. Once I started doing that, I found that it made everything much better. So the ginger, the water, making sure that I don't lie down soon after eating, and sometimes Rennies or Gaviscon if you feel like the acid is really terrible, or your doctor can always prescribe omeprazole. And then the other side effects are constipation and bloating. So I have sort of, yo-yoed between, sometimes I have diarrhea, sometimes I have constipation and bloating. So when I do feel like I'm a little bit constipated, it will cause constipation because it has slowed down your digestion. So you will get constipated for most people. Try and make sure you eat a lot of fiber, and try and find medication if you can from your doctor for constipation if you have to. What I have found works for me is I take 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. I've just, you probably see a pop-up of chia seeds on the screen somewhere. Chia seeds in water every morning on an empty stomach. So the moment I wake up, most of the time it's right, beside my bed. I take a glass of water with 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. That helps. So I leave it overnight because, chia seeds absorb water and they become jelly-like. So you need to steer them in the morning and then just gulp down. That's what I do. It works for me. It might not work for everybody. And then the other thing that I see that also works is to try and make sure that you your first meal. So after I've taken my chia seeds, I take a shower and I go about my day. And then the first actual meal of the day, I make sure that it's protein, high protein. That has helped me a lot. And you'll find that if you're on Mounjaro, they will definitely say you must have a high protein diet. So I take a protein filled meal. Most of the time it's something simple. I do 2 boiled eggs or have a pure protein shake. So I won't say which one because I'm not advertising for anybody. So yeah, your first meal of the day should be protein. So I do take 2 boiled eggs most days. That will give me a lot of protein and it keeps my stomach sort of stable throughout the day. And then the other side effect is fatigue and dizziness. So with fatigue and dizziness, guys, I'm not really sure to say Mounjaro will cause that. I'm sure it will because you'll be eating much less, so your sugar levels do drop. So you need to eat small meals frequently, or fruits at least in between, so that you keep your sugar levels, they don't dip too much, because that will cause a lot of fatigue and a lot of dizziness. So I'm already diabetic and I already sort of know how to manage dizziness and fatigue. So I wouldn't say Mounjaro caused me to get fatigued and have dizziness. I already had that because I'm diabetic and also I'm in perimenopause. So that also comes, that's part of perimenopause, fatigue and dizziness. So to help me with that, I take ashwagandha. It's also somewhere on the screen. Ashwagandha and B complex vitamins in the morning. This will help me to keep me active all day and so that I don't feel dizzy or I don't sleep. So that helps. And also sleep, you need 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single day. If you don't do that, you find that you're sort of off balance and the fatigue and dizziness becomes worse on the day where you don't really sleep well. So try and do that. Then the other side effect people talked about and asked me about is anxiety and depression. So I want to a disclaimer here to say I'm already diabetic, and a lot of diabetic people suffer from depression, and I am 47 in perimenopause. Anxiety is comes with the territory, so I cannot actually say Mounjaro caused any anxiety and depression, because I think I sort of already had some kind of level of depression and anxiety a little bit. But what I want to emphasize is that, so there was a time when there wasn't any Mounjaro in the NHS because of stockouts. So it was like 3.5 weeks or so without any Mounjaro. And then I went back on it when it came back. So during that time, I actually told my GP and said, I felt like the brain fog had lifted when I was off Mounjaro. I felt my mood was quite elevated and quite high. I felt a little bit more excitable than normal without the Mounjaro. So it's like, and then I went back on Mounjaro, right? And I felt like a little blanket had been thrown on all my excitement and my mood. So I have seen a lot of people complain about that. And in my mind, Mounjaro is working on your brain, isn't it? So it's causing you not to have that food noise. It's helping you to not think about food all the time. So there must be some effect on your brain. And as it has that side effect on your brain, it might actually worsen any underlying anxiety and depression. I'm not sure if it actually causes, but I think it might make it a little bit worse. Or you might feel like your mood has been dampened. So a lot of people talk about low mood on Mounjaro. And that also comes with the fatigue. So if you have a lot of fatigue, you're eating, so it's like a cycle, guys. So if you don't eat enough, you will get the fatigue and the dizziness. If you have fatigue and dizziness, you don't sleep well. If you don't sleep well, the anxiety and the depression also get worse. So it's almost like, a vicious cycle. So yeah, I'm not sure if Mounjaro makes it, I think it makes it worse. Yeah, so you have that sort of blanket over your mood. You have low mood. So try and make sure that you don't get too much fatigue. You don't starve yourself, because once you start starving yourself, you get very high levels of cortisol as well. And if you're someone above 40, if you get high cortisol, you're going to get anxiety, you're going to get depression. it comes with high cortisol levels. So try and deal with that as well. And anyway, go to your GP. Don't listen to a random woman on YouTube, like I always say. Go to your GP and ask. And then poor vision. So I must say, this is, I think, my third set of glasses since I started Mounjaro. I had the blue ones and then I had the smaller ones before that. So, and they have gone up. So it's not just changing the frame, it was also changing. And 2 weeks ago, I went for an eye check because I do have to get checked for diabetic retinopathy. I don't have that. I went for, the most expensive and most high quality scans. And no, I don't have any retinopathy. But actually, I need stronger glasses than these ones. So this is like two levels higher than what I used to wear before Mounjaro. So I must say, perimenopause also kind of causes this as well. But I think the Mounjaro plus being in menopause, less estrogen, that has made my vision worse. So for those of you who are not my age, who are not experiencing other things, tell me in the comment section how you guys are dealing with that. So because I'm a woman of a certain age, some people, then there are also men as well. Tell us if you're experiencing poor vision on Mounjaro. I've talked to people who say that a lot, and I've seen people who are on Mounjaro now start wearing glasses. So I've seen 2 people at least who are on Mounjaro who have started to wear spectacles. They have poor vision. So yeah. And then palpitations. So I didn't, on the 3 weeks where I didn't have Mounjaro, sulfur burp, excuse me, palpitations. I didn't have palpitations. When I went back on Mounjaro, the palpitations also came back. So I talked to my doctor, and as always, she's like, there's more than one culprit with some of your symptoms, palpitations being one of them. So it joins the list of things where you're like, maybe Mounjaro made it worse, maybe it was always there already, because most people my age get palpitations from lack of estrogen. So I don't know, but I have seen 2 YouTubers talk about palpitations on Mounjaro. One of them actually had to stop taking Mounjaro because they were getting palpitations. Then now let me tell you about my story to A&E. Yes, so I had severe stomach cramps at night. I had palpitations. I was sweating. I was really, really not well. So yeah, ambulance took me to the hospital, and they had to investigate like what was wrong. I felt like there was cement in my stomach, like my stomach was burning up, like hot coal and concrete had been poured into my stomach. I was really, really, really feeling really, really terrible. So they wanted to do investigations. So they did scans, and then they also did a colposcopy. What is it called? Yeah, I think that's it. So the gastroscopy. And then they did a colonoscopy from behind. Now I want to, take a detour and then say, for you to get those 2 done, you have to be given a laxative in hospital or even at home, so that you empty your whole digestive system. And I was given those laxatives and I completely emptied. I promise you, all my sins were washed away in the toilet. I was in the bathroom for hours and hours and hours. I had to take, gallons and gallons of water to flush everything down. And I must say, when I woke up the next morning, when I was going now for the colonoscopy, I actually felt better. I felt like the laxatives had treated all my symptoms. So I'm not really sure. I did ask the consultant who was seeing me, and they didn't find anything. I didn't have an obstruction. I didn't have anything at all that they could find that was causing all my pain. And after that laxative, and after emptying all my sins out, honestly, the pain went away. So Yeah, it could have been. I don't think it was stomach paralysis. Yeah, and the consultant didn't think that. So his explanation was, I have been on a GLP-1 for a very long time, having been on Ozempic for about 18 months on Ozempic. Took a 6-month break, then went on Mounjaro. He said perhaps that could have caused all that, accumulation and pain and suffering. But yeah, that was my trip to A&E. And after that, I was really keen to be discharged because I was discharged the very next morning. So after they did the test, and I could see on the screen like there was nothing, no obstruction, nothing was going on, and they couldn't find anything. I was really keen to be discharged and go home. And I went home, and yeah, I got better, and I never had such an episode again. So they tested everything, my liver, my kidneys, for gallstone, for everything, and appendicitis, ulcers, nothing. So yeah, that happened on Mounjaro. And yeah, we all sort of agreed, my GP, the consultant, and myself, that this was probably because of long-term use of Mounjaro, though it's just 5 milligrams. So I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced that, where they get that pain that is so much and you feel like your stomach is paralyzed, you're on fire, you're gonna die, and then you're taken to hospital, and after the laxative you feel better. After emptying out all your sins, you feel better. Anyway, it's just a little crazy story I wanted to tell you, so you can some of you might expect that. If look out for it, and let me know if anyone has experienced anything similar. So all my bloods, everything came out fine, guys. There was no pancreatitis, no gallstones, no appendicitis, no ulcers, nothing. My blood sugar was fine. So yeah, to me it was like, that was stomach paralysis. But yeah, the doctor has something else to say. So anyway, let me know if this has helped you, and if you are also experiencing sulfur burps, acid reflux, stomach pain, constipation, bloating, anxiety, depression, poor vision. Please do share in the comment section how you're dealing with it, so other people can learn, because lots of people are going to be on the drug, especially in the UK, because it's now being offered on the NHS. So anyway, I will go to my GP for my 12-month review, and we'll review all my medications for diabetes, for everything. And yeah, I'll give you an update if we are moving away from Mounjaro, which is my wish anyway, like I've said in my previous videos. So catch me in my next video when we talk about the 12-month review and what solutions we've come up with for me for weight loss, mostly, more than anything else. But yeah, ciao ciao, thank you for tuning in.